Hello, everybody. We're going to wait for some last minute people to show up. And we are also going to, yes, a little old fashioned, I understand, start our Roman timer there. My name is Kevin Bergeau, and welcome to Winning Strategies for Buyers Agents and Winning the Buyer Presentation. So, or as we like to say, how to elevate your process and maximize your value and lock in your compensation. Thank you for taking the time out of your day today and work on your business instead of working in your business, which we constantly do because it consumes us. Um, I hope to make it worth your while. So my goal today is to provide some real value and share actionable items with you, stuff that you can do right away, some insights and that you can apply immediately to your business. That being said, let's get going. So uh, the the other thing that you should really know is that I invest in my own personal growth, which everybody should do. Not everybody does, but and I invest in my learning too. So I've sat in on the webinars. I've reviewed the NAR settlement agreement. Talked with numerous agents. Been on participated in nationwide panels on it with groups to bring you the best ideas and strategies for adapting to the new rules. Now, I know, they started in August, and many of us have kind of gotten over it and said, well, okay, other than thinking everything sucks and, it's a lot to go through. Some of us have also looked at it and said, what's really changed because we did business this way as well prior to this. But again, I want to bring you some good ideas for adapting to new rules, and the goal being able to help us to adapt quickly and win in today's market. You with me on that? Okay. So that being said, let's get started. So the only thing you're going to need today is this. You don't have to take notes. You're welcome to take notes. There'll be a replay of this as well. But I want to take a moment today to check yourself in. And the reason I want you to do that, if you can take a screenshot of this, or if you're on your mobile phone, take a screenshot, or put up your phone to this and scan through this. The reason I want you to register, whether it's now or on the replay, is because that will enable me to give you a ton of handouts that come with this particular class. So scan the QR code on your mobile phone. When it asks you to select the class, just scroll down to winning strategies and select that. And then, you'll start getting the different things. And we're going to go through those things that we hand out throughout this. I'm not a spammer. I don't contact you every day and try and sell you anything. That's not what we're really trying to do. This just allows you to register. We let you know when there's new classes and when we have handouts or when there's a replay, and it's available up on our YouTube channel. And that's basically it. I can't stand when I get a ton of stuff, so I don't do that to other people. Okay. Having said that, this is what it's going to look like. Check in here, your name, all that stuff. Scroll down to winning strategies, which is the name of this class. Hit the orange button, and bingo, you're all checked in. Actually, let me put my little laser pointer on. There we go. Okay, we're going to be speaking today about value and mission statements, which is what you do and why you do it. You may be asking why we as mortgage professionals are doing this. Why are we hosting classes like this? And so far, we've got about 11 classes that we've developed and helped develop and hosted. Can anyone tell me the difference between a partnership and a vendor? Because that's one of the reasons that we do this. So a partner provides products and services just like a vendor can, but it's relational versus transactional. So a partner helps you solve problems, and is integral to your business, your setup. So ideally, what a partner does is help you achieve your goals. Our goal here is to strengthen your value proposition with your clients. That's our goal, and to help you more effectively grow. Do it faster, do it in a much more manageable method. We don't need to replace, we're not trying to replace any of your existing relationships. We don't need to do that. We can just, help you add on another relationship possibly. And that's really why we're here. And plus, this is again, I spoke about mission statements and value proposition. So this is our value proposition. And today's is sponsored by Alpha Marketing Academy, which is part of Alpha Abstract. So what we like to do is help real estate agents grow their brand, their social media presence, using the most relative content, tips, and tools available, leading to more warm leads and sales conversions as a result of consistent market visibility. So that's our kind of mission statement. That's what we're trying to help you do. And that's what both Alpha Abstract and I are all about. So if you're looking for an additional partnership or someone who's invested in you, maybe we should have a conversation. We can schedule that. Okay, enough of the sales tool. Let's get to today's agenda. I'm excited about this. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about mastering your value, winning the buyer presentation, the secrets of gaining trust, how to go about doing that. And we do a lot of surveys that we kind of reveal to you, and we kind of dissect them, unpack them as you would. What buyers really want from you, because that's not as apparent as you think, and how to craft your value statement and your process, and how to articulate it, and how to move clients from confused basically on what's going on because they hear all the talking heads on TV who I won't even get started there, but really have no idea what they're talking about. But how to move from confused to confident, and which will secure your compensation. Okay, so the NAR settlement's affecting agents differently, I found. We're finding three different responses and possibly four, but when I did this, there was only three that I'd noticed. So the first is confused, lacks a plan, doesn't really know how to handle it, what to do. The second is a bit of a complainer. Why do I have to do this? I've been doing this for 20 years. They want to resist the change, and I get that. And the third is really confident, clear on their value, know what they want to do to proceed, and actually see it as an opportunity. And again, crafting a value proposition, and you'll hear me say this over and over again, really helps clarify what your purpose is, what you want to do, and how you want to go about it. And that is very attractive to clients because it's confidence and in everything versus, dating, business, all that stuff. Confidence is very attractive to people. It makes them feel more secure. So that's what we're going to try and do. Does that sound good to you? Okay. So as the Greek Stoic philosopher Epictetus, say that fast three times, said almost 2,000 years ago, it's not what happens to you that makes a difference, but it's how you react to it that matters. It's not the market, it's how you react to the market that makes a difference. Do you see a ton of aggravation, or do you look at it and go, here's an opportunity? This is 2,000 years ago, still holds true today. It's pretty wise advice. So what's happening around the NAR settlement changes, and it's ongoing, with the DOJ not liking certain things, and it's still a mess. It will come to fruition. We in the mortgage space went through this in 2011, 12, 13, 14, called it TRID. But what you really need to do is start focusing on what you can control, what you can control today. Let's look at this change as an opportunity. Let's have the power to create and use it to use the power to create meaningful conversations and opportunities, and embrace the growth strategies that you can use to differentiate yourself. Do you agree with that? I mean, think about how you can turn your current situation into a competitive advantage. I listen. I honestly, I don't think this is the worst thing to happen to, on a professional level, to professional realtors. Um, I mean, your field really hasn't changed tremendously in the last 10 years. Um, Professional agents, this is an opportunity to showcase your value and what you do. Sorry. Um, okay. So, just want to make sure I'm not missing somebody. No, they're going to have to wait. Sorry about that. Okay. To showcase your value from what you do. Okay. So it differentiates you from other people. Um, and it formalizes the relationship between you, the buyer's agent, and the buyer, and makes sure that both parties are clear on what their duties, responsibilities, and what it's going to cost. Everything about the relationship is now out in the open. So, and every single one of you who showed up today, because you're watching this later in the rebroadcast, are ahead of the pack because you've chosen that already. You're like, okay, I want to adapt. I want to see what I can do in this market to make sure that I'm up there with the rest of with people who are professional with what they do. Because believe it or not, there's a lot of people who are just going to kind of meander through this and think that they can do that, and they're going to be in for a surprise. But you've chosen to adapt and learn how to perform in the current market. And I'm a performer as well. That's why I host these workshops. I look for other people who want to perform and expand and grow. So I'm glad you showed up today. A long way around that. Okay, so the fundamental activities really haven't changed. They didn't. Um, if you're a successful realtor, you're still going to do the same thing. It's about conversations, appointments, agreements, signed contracts. The NAR settlement doesn't change that. Are you with me on that? So remember a mantra. It's my second best mantra that I use, and I don't use a lot of mantras, but conversations lead to contracts. Always remember that. So if you can use what has happened to start conversations, you're closer to getting contracts. It's really that simple. The only thing that's really changed is, as a buyer's agent, we have to step up our game. We have to be more concise with what we're doing. So, okay, let's get started. And I'm really curious about how many of you, and you can put that in the chat or in the comments later on, how many of you see the changes in our settlement overall as a good thing? Um, I think it's the best thing, again, as I said, to happen for a long time ago. It's a shift. I know that. But this way, everybody's clear on what they're doing. It allows you to focus on what you should be doing. Okay, so we're moving to a hiring basis for buyer representation. This will ultimately enhance loyalty and commitment in client relationships. So before the NAR settlement, it was largely the listing agents that had the job. It was like being interviewed. You went up, maybe a couple agents got interviewed, so you had to be prepared. This means that though, you're doing just like the listing agents, so you have to be prepared as well. You have to formalize your offerings. Here's what I do. Here's how I do it. Here's what you'll get. Here's what to expect. So clients know exactly what they're getting into if they decide to hire you. So first, let's start off. let's talk about mastering your value, which in the end secures your compensation. Um, does everybody understand the difference between compensation and commission? I stopped calling it commission a long time ago, and I would suggest that you do. And here's why: because it's all about perception. This whole thing is about perception. Our half of our job is about perception and selling houses. So and taking buyers out. But here's what I mean about that. Commission is something is a fee that I have to pay in order to get this item that I want. You know, I wanted this thing. I had to pay a fee to somebody to get it. Not only did I have to buy the thing, but I had to pay a commission to the person on Amazon or wherever we got it from, right? So that's a commission. It doesn't really add to the value of that. Compensation is something that is an amount that I'm paying to get a service performed for me, to help me, um, to get me from point A to point B, to give me the wherewithal and information I need to move forward with whatever it is that I'm trying to do. So it's a big perception. People don't like paying a commission, but pay you a value for helping me get something done. Yeah, I don't mind doing that. I'm never going to refuse that. And again, it's perception. So, all right, here's a survey. It's one of the surveys that we subscribe to of 1,000 consumers. When asked, why do you feel the services of a real estate agent are not necessary when buying a home, regardless of what you and I feel? Um, Here's what people responded with. And by the way, um, those of you who came to the new open house, the digital open house, digital blueprint for what we did for digital open house and open houses in general, if you came to that class, none of this is going to be a surprise to you. Okay, so 45% said I real estate agent um, is not necessary because I can find homes for myself online and tour them at the open houses. I could refute a bunch of that, but there's also a lot of that is not untrue. I mean, in this day and age of Zillow and Realtor.com and everything else, they can find a house. We no longer hold the control over that as agents. Okay. 38% said because it seems simpler to me to just work with the agent representing the seller. I could argue that 1,000 times, and we're gonna come back to this later, why that is not good. But again, this is perception. This is 38% of the people feel that way out of that 1,000, which isn't a huge sample, but it's good enough. 16% said, "Because I don't think what real estate agents do is hard, and I'm confident that I can do it myself." Okay, let me know how that works out for you. So what does this tell you, though? This is a pretty good survey because what it tells us is um, what we have to control is the narrative because this is how people feel because they're not informed. All they have to look at is talking heads tell them, "Oh, you don't need an agent anymore," and they take that teleprompter reader to heart. So, and again, here's another part of that survey. Which of these statements do you think is most true? 21% said a real estate agent who works for buyers can often get a better deal from the seller agent and their agent, from the seller and their agent. So that's pretty good. I mean, that's a good statement. It's only 21% of the people. Again, perception. We've done a terrible job. 25% say a real estate agent can find homes for sale that may not be found online, which is true. Although, again, in this day and age, a lot of stuff is online and very easy to get online. But this is their perception. But here's the real one that I love. 55% of the people, so this is the majority, said a real estate agent can help buyers make smarter decisions, looking at the pros and cons of home buying of buying a home, translating the inspection reports and disclosures, or interpreting the fine print and all the paperwork. So, what does that tell you that about what buyers value the most? It's your expertise, your knowledge, and your guidance. But the media is not very helpful with this, are they? The key takeaway is your content. When you put content out there, it should showcase how you help clients get from point A to point B, how you help clients win. And, good. Look, a little self promotion is great, but make it more educational. I'm finding that is getting more hits and more likes and more traction. Okay. In the past, you could say, so the buyer presentation is now a job interview because in the past, you could say, um, when people asked about your paying, don't worry about it. The seller pays me. This is free to you. Okay. Well, not anymore. That won't cut it. So now you need to be prepared. You wouldn't show up to a job interview without researching a little bit about the company. You're not going to walk into a job interview and go, what is it you do? How would I fit in? What's this job about? No, you would be prepared. That's what this is about. That's what this is going to help you do, help you focus and be prepared, and it will result in more deals. So, what does it take to get hired? Have you ever hired somebody? Okay. What are the baseline qualities or attributes that you're looking for in someone? What do you think that those attributes are that other people are looking for in a real estate agent? Experience, trust, results. Okay. This means that how we present ourselves and our value is more critical than ever. Um, the scrutiny is going to be a lot higher. The And when asking clients to sign a commitment, they're going to look at that because that commitment could cost them money. They may now have to actually shell out some dough. So they're going to have a higher degree of scrutiny on that. So over the past few months, I've spoken with many agents about their buyer presentations, right? And I found that most really don't have a well documented and defined and articulated process or presentation. That won't cut it anymore. And I'm hoping you can start to see why. In a moment, I'll share two things that I've seen missing in every single buyer presentation that I've viewed. Well, almost every single one. And these things should be in there. But the public perception is that buyers agents don't do much. Personally, I don't agree with that. But according to a poll from the Wave Group, 25% of buyers thought that their agent spent 10 or fewer hours on their home purchasing transaction. That's hard to believe, but again, you can argue all day long, and I will agree with you that you spent far more. But this is perception. 46% of buyers thought that their agent spent fewer than 15 hours. Again, so what do buyers agents, I'm sorry, so what do buyers need from their agents? The results indicate that buyers need more education. They need to know what you do. They need more communication on that. And they need about clarity about, what it is that you're going to perform for them and why there's value there. Because if they're unsure, they're not going to commit to it. And that's what we find the biggest hurdle is to that commitment because they're not aware of what you do. All they have is their perception from other people in their lives and from the media. Um, so this survey really shows the importance of articulating and showcasing your value and kind of the behind the scenes working of what it is that you do, you know, taking them through the journey. So, in order to do that, be prepared to answer the following four questions. How will you answer this? What is your fee? Why should I hire you? What if the seller doesn't offer compensation? What do we do then? What's the plan? And why should I not just work with the listing agent? Well, in a few moments, we're going to help you answer these questions and more. But first, you should be prepared to hear, I just want to work with the listing agent. Remember this statistic, 38%. That's not quite half, but it's over a third of your clients say, because it seems simpler to me just to work with the agent. Is that a good idea for buyers? Nay, nay. I think not. In 99% of the cases, it's actually a very bad idea. And you and I know why that is. And it's not because it's a bad idea because we won't get compensated. It's a bad idea because it's harmful to the buyers. They don't understand that the listing agent nowhere represents them, that the listing agent represents the seller and is looking out for the seller's best interest, not theirs. And you would be surprised, again, 38% of the people don't understand that. That's a huge amount. This is content and conversations. This is what we have to teach them. How do we educate them to be more informed? Well, all things being equal, the person best able to demonstrate value and explain the rules will win, right? So, how do you demonstrate your value and address the concerns and the new rules? Is your opportunity to differentiate yourself. You're here, so you're already starting that. It's the ability or the availability to showcase what you can do, your professionalism, your creativity, and it'll help you create trust. And that's what creates trust. And trust is critical to getting hired by your buyers. Okay, so next up, the buyer consultation agreement. Who here does buyer consultations? If so, what's your process? You can again put that in the chat, um, or comment on it later on if you're looking in the replay. How often do buyers sign the agreement following your presentation? Like, do you give your presentation and then you go, okay, let's go? So my goal today is help you to be more effective with that presentation, with your buyer consultations. I study a lot of sales training and scripting, and I wanted to share some examples of that with you today, if that's okay. Okay, so you're going to start with an opening statement. You're in a conversation with them, and you're going to say, okay, can you tell me what your experience is regarding what it takes to purchase a home in today's current market? Now, remember, today's current market and over the past 2.5, 3 years is much different than it's ever been or been for a long time. The last time we had a market that was even close to this, and it was for different reasons, was 2004, 2005-ish. Um, so, they may not know what it takes. It's very heavily not only a seller's market, but the reasons it's a seller's market, lead to a lot of different strategies that need to be put into place. So, what do you understand about all the steps? This is just a sample conversation you can have with them. What do you understand about all the steps involved to make sure that you get the right house you really want at the right price and terms that are agreeable to you? With all the changes happening in real estate, it's important to understand how everything works, including how professional agents like me get compensated. Would it help if I walked you through all the services we provide to someone in your situation, whether it's on a house that you find yourself online or one that we find for you, to make sure that you have all the information you need to make an informed decision? So if you look at what this says, you don't have to create the need. The need is already there. You just have to expose it. And again, this is only a conversation. I'm a mortgage person. You have these conversations all day long with people. You might be able to craft this better than I can. So, and also, after this, you might say, okay, your next step, if they agree with this, your next step is let's arrange a consultation, so we can understand your home buying goals, right? Um, understand that there's no pressure to work with me after the consultation. And you can choose to go a different way, and we can explore other potential possibilities. But I'm confident that you're going to find the information that I give you during that consultation and the guidance that you'll find there really, really valuable. What does your schedule look like in the next couple of days? So that's how you move forward. So let's talk about content a little bit. We're all doing social media, or 99% of us. It's something, love it or hate it, that you have to do in today's age. This is how your clients are connecting to you. So here's an example of some social media content that showcases how you help clients win. We talked about that in the beginning. So we, so this is, I'm going to show you. I use Banana Realty. It's the made up name. So this is really what we're looking for in the caption, okay? And then what the actual post to be. So the caption is the important of work happens after, I'm sorry, I'm reading over here because it's bigger, after the finding of that particular house happens. When it's time to evaluate, strategize, and negotiate. This is where we earn our keep. Now, what the post says is a Zillow search is easy. Successfully negotiating with the sellers in today's market, hard. We take care of the hard part. So I like that. And again, the caption here is about, will help you evaluate the things. It's about the home inspection. Um, will help you evaluate the things that may come up in a home inspection. And you know as well as I do that there are, are these things a big deal? Are they not? And really, that's what your caption is helping them decipher the home inspection. Is this a deal killer, or is it nice to know? Navigating the home inspection should be, and you should actually put something here. Navigating the home inspection is what we help you do. Because again, you know, is the fact that there's rust around the vent, or something else that's wrong? Is there a crack? Is this a foundational crack, or is it cosmetic crack? People don't know that stuff. You do this every day. And number three, um, again, having a buyer's agent on your side through offers and negotiations mean you'll get experienced backed transactions and everything that may come up, and translations and everything that comes up in the process. So when reading through the contract, is it a big deal or no? We help you sort out the confusing disclosures, because people don't even know what the disclosures are, or any of the reports or anything that they have to fill out. So again, can you see how the content showcases the benefits and and exposes the need there? So it's critical we set the narrative, and it's all in framing. It's how you frame it that people's perception will change. And there's a couple more, which I'm not going to go into a huge thing here, but I like this one uh, the most. So a seller's agent, because this is what people don't understand, at least 38% of them don't understand. A seller's agent is always going to put the seller first. That's their legal obligation. That's their job. Okay. A buyer's agent, which is what you are, ensures that you get as much representation as they do, from the offer to closing. And here it just says your agents, you first. It should be a little bit more elaborate, but your agents put you first. And true, and that's what all these are about. True representation is never double-sided. And a seller's agent represents the seller. Who represents, it says here, what about you? But I would say, who represents you? Who's looking out for your interest? So that's the kind of content that actually exposes need and says what you do. It's educational. Buyers may feel that the $4,000 to $10,000 is just too much to pay an agent, but they could pay far more than that, and that's what you have to expose. A mistake in reading the home inspection, or the way you read it, could be the difference in a $20,000 fix later on. So, again, you need to expose to them that they need representation. Okay. So, in fact, there's 91 things we do for you when we represent you as a home buyer. That's 90 plus ways that we serve you. Um, this piece here is something that we will be giving out to you for those that complete the whole course. Um, here are some, highlights some of the key things that we do. If you'd like a copy of this for yourself, we'll include this again, those of you who complete the course to the end. And this is customizable, by the way. So when you hand it to them, we found a way that you can do this with a picture. Don't do the QR code; it doesn't lead to anywhere. But we found that there's a way to do. You put your name on it. You see my little moniker down here, and who I work for. So we'll give you a link to that Canva template. Hopefully, most of you know how to use Canva. But wait, there's more. If you're looking for ideas to help you articulate your services and provide your value, you may want to consider some resources from NAR. And here's 179 ways that agents who are realtors are worth every penny of their compensation. And number two, same thing. 100. This came out a little bit later. Is more on the buy side. This covers both, but this is more on the buy side. So again, if you want a copy of this, and you complete the course, please feel free, leave a comment, or better yet, DM me. That'll get you it more much faster. So again, a lot more handouts. And by the way, get your phone out. This is the way you can contact me. So this is a link card. I don't get paid for this, but it was $20, and you can put everything on here. I mean, I've got my Facebook, Instagram, YouTube channel, all my Google customer reviews. You can even, you can copy this and send it to a client, and they can start applying for a loan right from here. This tells you everywhere I am except for LinkedIn and TikTok. Not LinkedIn, I'm sorry, for X and TikTok, which I'm not currently on. X, I don't like the format, and TikTok, I may go on later. We'll see. As our clientele evolves, and if the majority of them are on TikTok, well, why do you rob banks? Because that's where the money is. So if that's where our clients are, that's where we have to go. So let's talk about this. Why are people reluctant to sign an agreement? Okay. There's a couple different reasons. Number one, they may not really be ready or serious yet. Two, they may be unsure of what this agreement means. What does it lock them into? So they're kind of, have some trepidation. They don't feel confident in that. So they need context to understand and feel confident. So you must explain the reason you're asking them to sign this. So, it's not just, okay, I'm going to lock you in and you're mine. No, it's there's multiple reasons that you should go through with them and show them how it benefits them, because that's what people always want to know. How does it benefit them? So who here already uses, and the majority of us do, a buyer broker agency agreement? And for some of you, this has been in place before August. So again, you can put that in the comments. Okay, does every buyer respond equally to the same value proposition? No, not every buyer is the same. Not every buyer is looking for the same thing. So you kind of have to custom tailor what your value proposition is. You have to tweak it and think ahead of time. This is why I love said makes you think ahead of time. What kind of clients do I focus on? But not only that, what kind of clients have I had in the past, or what am I likely to get? So here's a few example of who you might be looking to serve and how you can tailor your value proposition to them, how you can tweak it. So, okay, first-time home buyers, right? There's a big hit. Maybe you offer exclusive, access to educational info. So, you after a number of years, have developed some educational info, some budgeting resources that can help first-time buyers navigate the complexities of purchasing a home. Um, so this again, this is your value statement. It's one of the things that you do. You can say to them, "Hey, not only do I help you find a house and negotiate all that other stuff that I do, but I understand that if you're doing this for the first time, you may not fully understand how this is going to affect your budget. And you may not even have thought about a budget before, or what it means to you financially and tax wise. Do you know that very often I will tell people about the tax consequences, tax benefits, actually, I should put that, of buying a home, how the interest is tax deductible? I'm telling you, 90% of people do not know that, do not understand it. 90% of first-time buyers don't understand that, don't know that, which is kind of surprising. Okay, another group of people, investors, right? So they're looking for something different than first-time buyers or repeat buyers or move-up buyers. And here's a sample value statement that could work for them. I specialize in identifying high return investment properties, providing comprehensive market analysis to help you make an informed decision. I know neighborhoods that are up and coming where you're going to be able to get more rent going forward. Lots of you can do a lot of things like that and incorporate that into your value statement. Military investment and veterans rather. Here's a sample value statement for them. So I am well versed in the VA loan process, which most agents aren't. And that's why most agents, listing agents, don't understand that a VA loan is one of the easiest loans to get through. There's very little that you can't do if you've served our country in terms of loans that won't get approved. So I'm well versed in the VA loan process and the benefits, helping military families secure favorable financing options and explaining the process to hesitant listing agents and their sellers. That's extremely important. And then you can, again, go through what happens if you have a military buyer, what you find in the marketplace with regards to reluctance to get somebody with a VA loan. I mean, I've gone through it a number of times. Okay, relocation clients. Again, different client, different needs. I provide comprehensive relocation services, including neighborhood tours, information on local amenities, what you're going to find in the neighborhood, which is, by the way, on YouTube, the number one search for people looking for houses is they're looking for the neighborhood. So if you're doing YouTube stuff, which yes, we have a class on that. If you're doing YouTube stuff, that's a good thing to focus on. We help you with moving logistics, temporary housing options, and settling in services. There's a myriad of things that you can help with relocation clients. All right, so we're seeing agents in some areas use two kinds of agreements of sale, I'm sorry, buyer agreements. One is the primary agreement, and the other is the secondary agreement. Yeah, that's really inventive terms there, right? Is anyone else doing this? Because you really have to think about this ahead of time. You know, because you're going to get some reluctance. All right, but let's go through this. So the primary buyer agreement is, you get the consultation in person or on Zoom. You get the exclusive buyer broker agreement. You do the client onboarding process and services. So this is your ultimate. This is an exclusive agreement for a specific period of time. It's what you really strive to do. It's your full client onboarding, and this is for, obviously for clients who are ready, who are ready to move forward. They're ready to commit. They want to go out and look. Does that make sense? Okay, so there's no big mystery there. Okay, so you've just wrapped up the client consultation. You now have to transition to the agreement. So let's talk about that. Um, these are all transition statements. So how do you transition from going through everything and saying, okay, now here's the agreement that you're going to sign and we'd like you to sign. So, one of the things is, again, making an easy transition. So, transparency. This is what people look for. This agreement also outlines my responsibilities and compensation structure, which we can review together. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Open-ended question, would you be interested in taking a few minutes to go through this agreement and see how it can benefit you? And remember, always frame positively. So, with everything you've reviewed, are you feeling confident about moving forward with the agreement and getting started with your home search? Okay, again, we're always trying to move forward, but we don't want to rush people because that's what can lead to reluctance. And you're going to get that. So, what if they push back signing this agreement? What do? Do you sit there and go, no, you have to figure out that you're going to get reluctance. And many of us have already gotten that, right? So, this is you speaking to the client. I understand you're hesitant about signing the buyer agency agreement. Can I share with you why it's important for us to take this step together? And focus on the benefits. The agreement ensures that I'm fully dedicated to finding your perfect home, acting solely in your best interest. For example, if we see a property with multiple offers, I can use my negotiation skills to advocate for the best price and terms on your behalf. Without this agreement, I wouldn't be able to represent you in that way. Again, I don't think people fully understand that no realtor, no realtor worth their salt is going to just take you out anymore without any agreement. Because if they show you a house that doesn't compensate you and they're not willing to compensate you, you're not going to get paid. And most people understand that and don't really want you to work, if you've explained it correctly, for free. Okay, so we haven't talked about compensation yet, right? I'm sure you have a much better way to discuss this with clients, but again, these are just some things that you can build on. These are transition statements. So, discussing compensation, I would love the opportunity to represent you for any home we find. If you choose a FISBO, explain what that is. A home or a home that where the seller offers no buyer agent compensation, then we'll negotiate differently for that home than if the listing agent already has the buyer's comp, which is still true most of the time, built in. Many times the seller will offer buyer agent compensation. My fee is X, right? It may be covered in the seller's offer. However, if they offer less than my fee of X, then we may negotiate with them differently. And you can kind of explain that, how it might be a more forward and aggressive, you may look at the home inspection differently. You may demand more things from them. Again, depending upon where the house is, what kind of demand it is, is it a perfect house? Is it a house that needs work? All that stuff. So, and again, I'd love to hear from you how you discuss your compensation. Okay. Do you think buyers are reluctant to compensate agents? Let's look at some feedback. So, good news. People don't have an objection per se to agent compensation. Here's a survey, once again, 1,000 would-be home buyers. And these are home buyers, by the way, who were aware of the NAR lawsuit. So this wasn't before, this was after. All right. So again, over 20% of the respondents would pay at least the equivalent of 2.5%. So if you look at this, and again, some people understand that they didn't do this on a percentage basis. They did this on a dollar basis because I think people understand that better, you would think. 5% of people said, yeah, they would give the full 3%. This is on a $500,000 house. 10%, or I'm sorry, 37% said they would give 10 grand. 15% said that they would give 12.5, which is 2.5%. So if you look at this, the majority are going to give 2% or more. Okay. And the key takeaway from those who can both articulate and deliver value will continue to do well. So it's not that people are opposed to it. Again, we just have to articulate and show them what your value is. Um, okay, so you are gonna get people say, "I'm not ready to sign an agreement." Okay, all right, don't fight them. Acknowledge them. Offer different options. I understand completely you may want to get a feel for the market before committing to a full service agreement with an agent. Good news is I can still help you. I can help you at this stage. So we offer options like short-term buyer agreements or single home buyer agreements. Okay. So pivot to the secondary agreement. This is what that is. Tell them about those agreements that you have. So secondary buyer agreement, we mentioned earlier, this is your options. We're seeing agents, prepared agents, turn to them and do them when needed. So here's what you do. Why don't we put together a short-term or a single property agreement? I want to make sure that you have proper representation in the event that you're interested in a house that you find over this weekend while you're in town or while we're looking this weekend. I'm confident once you experience the value that I provide you with and the guidance, you'll want to be onboarded as a full service client. This just protects me, makes me willing to take you out, for these particular houses. If you don't see something that you like or you don't find my services valuable, then it just covers what we've looked at. That's it. You're not locked into anything for the future. Okay. So you have to explain that to them, explain the benefits. So, short term, again, more transition statements. For example, a short term agreement would allow us to focus on your search for, say, the next 30 days. So you don't only have to do the weekend. And I kind of would mention the weekend, but you can try it on 30 days, 4 to 15 days. That way you can get a head start with my expertise and guidance without a full fledged commitment. If you like it, then we talk about that, as the next step. It allows me, so there's another transition statement. So keep in mind, venturing out on your own might seem appealing at first, but navigating negotiations or multiple offers without representation can be very tricky and almost hazardous. With this short-term agreement, you'll still have access to my full range of negotiation skills, everything else that I offer, and my market knowledge for this short period of time or for anything that you see. So you'll be protected, you'll be represented. Okay. So, continue moving forward with the transition and the conversation, right? Would you be interested in learning more about how short agreement can benefit you in your home search? Offer to show matching properties. In the meantime, I can still show you some properties that seem like a good fit based on our initial conversation and go deeper with them. What features are most important to you in a home? Let's start listing them out in order of importance. This may be new for some of you, right? And I hope you find the dialogue examples helpful. You're going to put it in your own style, right? But this is just things to think about. And from other people that we've spoken to, other agents that we've spoken to across the country, this is what they run into. This is how they transitioned and overcame some of that. Remember, the key is to be patient, informative, highlight the benefits of having you represent them, which is different than self promotion, by the way. Make it, this is why it's good for you. And you could say to have somebody, even if it's not me, don't go out by yourself, um, even in a shorter time frame. Okay. So moving on, this is all scripting. Successful agents are successful for a reason because they figure out ahead of time what they want to say. They put the scenarios in their head. Been through them. They review them in their head and they go through scripting and they script it out. And then, you know, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice. It's the same thing. They practice it 1,000 times in front of mirrors, in front of, whatever they need to do with spouses, with other people in the field, with their mortgage rep. They practice this stuff, and that's what makes you good at it. But not everybody's a wordsmith, least of all me. So this might help you with scripting. Um, exactly what to say for real estate agents by Phil Jones, right? So great book. Um, I would highly recommend it. You will get the book. Thank me later. Okay, here's another pro tip. Utilize artificial intelligence, AI, Chat GPT. So this is a pro tip. And we do a Chat GPT class. We're holding our next one probably next February, March. We do at least one a year, sometimes two a year, because the information and the way this part of the field is expanding is really exponential. It's very explosive. It changes quickly. The offerings that help you really economize what you do, and help you get to a certain point you want to do. It's just phenomenal. And with Chat GPT, and I'm going to use them. There's other AI services. It's all about the prompts. The prompts are, how you input the question. So the prompts are persona, who you are. I'm a real estate agent. I'm a mortgage professional. Context. Use your case scenario. What do you want to accomplish? What's your goal? And then what's your output? What tone are you looking for? You're looking for formal. You're looking for friendly. Again, it will learn your voice, but you can ask it to speak in a specific voice. Um, so let's try ChatGPT to help us with a value proposition. The first steps, again, provide the framework for ChatGPT to understand your request. So here, I am a real estate agent. Create a value proposition for first-time homebuyers, which involves crafting a clear, compelling statement that highlights the unique benefits and solutions that I offer to meet their specific needs and concerns. Can you give me 3 pain points and 3 corresponding value propositions I can offer to overcome those issues? Uh, you can even do it this way. This is great. Please write in bullet format in the style of Phil M. Jones, who was the author of Scripting, author of Exactly What to Say. So ChatGPT can come out with stuff. And this is really cool. And I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I really want you to research it. Um, so overwhelmed by the complexity of the home buying process, pain point. First time buyers often feel lost and overwhelmed by the paperwork, legal jargon, and the sheer number of steps involved buying a home. Here's the value proposition. What if I told you that buying your first home doesn't have to feel like climbing Mount Everest? Imagine having someone at your side who's climbed the mountain 100 times. I'm your Sherpa. I'll be your guide, making each step clear, simple, so you'll feel confident and in control. You know, fear two, fear of overpaying is number two. Is the pain point. First time buyers worry about, am I overpaying for the house? Um, or choosing a home that might not appreciate well enough so that they can accumulate wealth. Here's your value proposition. Imagine knowing you're not getting just a home, but a smart investment. And you can read through this and so forth. It goes, um, into uncertainty about financing, the availability. And so you can see that you can ask it. And here's another, next we ask Chat GPT to combine the best elements of all three. This is why I love this thing. And rework them into a concise single paragraph for ABC Real Estate Team. At ABC Real Estate Team, we simplify the home buying journey for first-time buyers, ensuring that you feel confident and in control every step of the way. With our expert guidance, we'll help you secure the perfect home at the right price while connecting you with trusted lenders to understand your home financing options. So it's phenomenal. So the whole point of this is use ChatGPT if you're familiar with it. If not, I think we have a class on our YouTube channel, um, which is Home Buying You with Kevin Burjou. All right, so here's the benefits of value proposition. A value proposition or a value statement helps in five key areas. So it builds trust quickly. It demonstrates your professionalism and expertise right from the start. It saves you time. Your value statement declares this is who I am. Um, and this allows your prospects to quickly determine if you are the right fit for them. There's not drawing it out forever and then them getting PO'd because you may not be the right person for them. It enhances your connection. So it builds that trust. It makes you memorable at networking events. Listen, you know who you are. Yeah, I'm Mike McCann, the real estate man. A little bit more than that. But if you have a concise value proposition that you can make your mantra and repeat to people over and over again, they're going to remember that when you meet people at different places. It increases not only your confidence, but their confidence in you. You know who you are. You know what you want to do. You know what you can accomplish for them. And it differentiates you because, believe it or not a lot of agents do this. Not enough agents know what theirs is. The good agents usually do. They know exactly who they are, what they can do, what they're about. And they know how to convey that to their clients. Okay. After the NAR settlement, these are the three main things buyers want to know. So consumers like simplicity, right? So let's not overcomplicate this. There are three main things that buyers want to know post NAR settlement. What is the process? Why should I hire you? And how do I pay for it? A subsection of that is, what are my options? Okay, we already covered the first two. Next two is explain how you get compensated and their options in that in different scenarios of how you get compensated. Um, would you like some guidance on how to discuss your fee? Sure. Okay. So keep it simple. If you've already established your value up front, provided your proof of process, past results that you can help them solve their problems, you can now introduce your fee. Regarding compensation, the best advice that I have found is simple. Okay, here's how I get compensated. My fee for services is X amount, 2.5%, 2%, 3%. There are three ways I get compensated for my services. You want me to explain a little bit further? And I think you just say, let me take that further. So the sellers, which is the majority, offer the compensations in their listings, right? That's still the majority of the way this is done. So chances are you won't have to worry about that, but you should know that up front because sometimes they may not offer compensation and you will pay me directly. Or could be a combination. Maybe they're paying, my fee's 3%, they're paying 2.5%. Which, by the way, that's on an uptick, which I find really good. And you'd have to cover part of the fee. So the industry changes in compensation are kind of like, so I like using analogies, stories. So you can explain, this is kind of like how doctors, healthcare, and insurance work, right? So let me explain that. I'm going to get past that. So think of the agent as the doctor for the purposes of illustration now, right? So I go to the doctor, doctor performs a service. Sometimes insurance is going to cover that service in total. Sometimes there'll be a copay, so you may have to pay a little bit. Sometimes it may not be a covered option too. So there's other ways to also look at this too. And this is where kind of leveraging your lender will come in. So there's two more options that we can use. We can increase the purchase price to include my fee if they're not willing to compensate, which means that the property does explain everything to them. Property does have to appraise at a higher amount. Or We could even work it into, if that doesn't work, we could work it into the loan amount. You know, if you're putting 10% down, maybe we look at putting 5% down, and we'll show you how that affects them. So again, here's where leveraging your lender to create confident buyers with winning offers can work for you. So let's talk about that. I know some of you have, again, existing lender partner, and that's great. I'd like to ask you the question, how important is your lender in delivering a world-class service? And has your lender come to you and talk to you about different ways to do this? You know, because again, the math is on this, and the ways to do this is not something that you know automatically or you're going to encounter every day. This is a new environment that we're in. You know, we had to think of this stuff and figure out how we can do it and then run it by legal and say, can we do this? Or, you know, what's some alternatives? So you should take these ideas and ask your lender about them. Okay. So here's a commission gap strategy. Let's look at an example, you know, of this. You know, here's, um, you know, seller paid commissions, right? Here's the traditional way. Their payment's going to be, and I forget what, I think it's on a $300,000 house. Okay, so on a $300,000 house, they're putting, you know, 10% down. That's 270 loan amount. There's their interest rate, their APR. It's a 30-year loan, and here's their payment, 2128. Here's their out of pocket, 31,316. Right. So we can finance that in a loan amount. We take out, because the compensation, let's say it's 3%, would be 9 grand on that, right? So we can, instead of taking out a loan for 270, take out a loan for 279. Here's how it affects you, right? Your payment would now be 2213, which, doing quick math, is, I don't know, $85 more, something like that. Their out of pocket is relatively the same. Or we can finance it in the price, where they're going to pay 309 for the property. By the way, you can do a combination too. They're gonna do 309 for the property. Loan amount's going to be slightly less, and the payment's going to be slightly less than that. You know, I think it's a $65-$70 instead. So again, this tells you different monthly savings. This tells you interest percentage, so all that kind of stuff, and you can go through that. But this is what you should be talking about with your lender. Another example is a seller buy down for homes that, so let's say you're on the listing side, because this works both ways. If you're listing agents or you do both, which I would expect some of you do, you know, and you have a house that, in this day and age, you know, some houses in the cities are having issues selling. There's a, you know, been a flight to the suburbs over the, you know, with the pandemic and everything else that's been going on. Look at the difference in the payment on some of these. You know, the purchase price, you know, by going up, you can do a seller buy down, but this makes it more attractive. And I'm doing this on the buy side. I'm telling agents and their clients about this and seeing if we can negotiate this into the deal, because, you know, they're willing to pay more if they can do that, because it makes sense. So I'm not going to go through the whole chart with you, but you know, there's a big difference, if you're a listing agent, between lowering the price and offering something that gets the buyer to the same payment, because that's what they shop. Excuse me. Sorry. Okay. Let me ask you a question. Which option impacts payment more? Reducing price or reducing interest rate? Here's the first quiz of the day. Yes, it's reducing interest rate has a big impact. Okay, let's move on. People feel confident when there's a process in place. So it's not only the statements that you make telling what you do, but you want to guide them through the process. Okay, remember the NAR survey that we shared earlier. Remember, it said that, what do people value the most? I think it was 53% said, here it is, all buyers said, helped buyer to understand the process. This is where they need guidance. Think of yourself as, remember in fourth grade and third grade, you learned about George Washington crossed the Delaware and he held up the light so we could see the way. That's who you are. You're showing them the different paths they can take, recommending different things to them, giving them your expertise. And that's what buyers want the most. They want you to guide them through the process. And this even goes through the age, different ages, how they value each of these things. A close second is point out unnoticed features or faults with the property. You know, that's a big deal to people. And it's a big deal because, if the seller agent walks them through the property, the listing agent rather, you think they're gonna point out, oh, gee, that sewer pipe looks broken, or there's a crack in the sewer pipe. We're gonna have to ask for that to be fixed. They're not gonna point that out. They're not gonna show them the difference between a cosmetic issue and a foundational issue. So, again, this is why having a well-defined process is important. Having a structured process creates confidence in your ability to guide people. And this, again, this shows you that. Okay. So if you're a listing agent, I put this in here because I know people do both in here. Show flow and demo. This is something that we can send out to you. It's a framework to consider. It shows people exactly what you do and what the results are. And, again, what the process is. When they understand the process, they feel so much more comfortable because they don't have to guess anymore. They don't have to worry about, something surprises them. Uh, you know, this this makes it so you don't undersell yourself. This shows everything you do. Um, some of these are going to vary state to state too, but you get the idea, right? Now, for buyers, which is, this is largely for, here's the home buyer roadmap. By the way, yes, this is customizable. See my face up here? See who I work for, what my team is. So you can show them all the stuff that it takes to do, and this isn't all of it, but you can show them this is the process. This is the roadmap that you're going to take, that we're going to take together, and I'm going to guide you every step of the way. This shows them the steps. It shows them the process. So again, we can send you, if you complete this or DM us and say, hey, I saw your course. I watched it, liked it. Can I get a copy of the home buyer roadmap? We'll show you how to get that. So I'm not sure that this is for you too, but who would be open to a 40+ page home buyer guide template? We're working on it now. It should be done mid-January, somewhere around there, that you can customize to put yourself on it. So it's a Canva template that we're creating. Again, here's what it has in it, and it has a lot more than this. But it gives buyer agency overview, key buyer agent responsibilities. Again, this is articulating it for you in a magazine that you can just digitally send to people. Understanding buyer agent compensation, dual agency and its implications, what the pitfalls can be, financing and closing costs, what to expect, the offer process, and so much more this has for you. And again, this is going to be free. It's not quite done yet, but I wanted to put it in here because we're really excited about it, and we think it's going to be a real winner for the agents. And yes, you can get that free today. Well, not today, but when it comes out, DM me and tell me that you'd like that. We'll put you on that list, and we'll send you something when it comes out, and give you the process on how to do it, and maybe even part of the process on how to customize it for those of you who are not familiar with Canva. Okay, and confidence is a process. Creating confidence is a process. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen right away. It can happen in the first conversation. and that's great if you have the ability to do this. So, but we see it as three distinct steps, you know, collaboration, working with your lender and your other people, your insurance person, your home inspector, um, for a unified client experience. You know, have a vision of what you want your experience to be with every client and make sure everybody's on board. Communication, you know, is the people on your are the people on your team, you know, available when you need them or when your client needs them. It's one of the things that I have strived for, you know, and much to my wife's chagrin, you know, you can, if a client calls me or texts me and it's Saturday night or about to be Saturday night at 6 o'clock, and they say, I just saw a house. There's going to be multiple offers. I need your help. I'm going to respond. So, you know, do you have that with the rest of your team? And all that leads to confidence, at least to your confidence, knowing that you're surrounded by a good team. And again, if you're confident and you exude that confidence, that will go to your clients. They'll get that too, and it will attract them. Um, so here it is. Are you ready for this shift? Do you have well-crafted value statements? Have you defined and documented your process? And do you have simple answers to the new rules so that people can get the guidance that they're looking for? The most prepared agents will win, hands down. Okay. Hopefully today has been helpful for you. Sorry we ran a bit over. I apologize for that. Um, so, you know, figure out, hopefully this has been a good guide for you, and what your next step is based on what you learned today. Figure out what you want to do next, you know, what you're going to get next. Yeah, and again, if you found this useful, like anything else, and we teach this in our Google class, which is our most popular class, if you could take your phones out or take a screenshot of this, leave me a review if you found this helpful. If you, you know, if you can, or if you want to, also ask me if you have interest in other classes. Put it in that review. You know, hey Kevin, did you ever think about, or do you have a class teaching this? This is what my clients are asking for. This is where I need some help. Like in database marketing for those agents who are, you know, 4 or 5 years and build up a database. I find that many agents don't use that database to get, you know, new clients, and it's a wealth there. You know, they don't know what they're sitting on, and that's a class that we teach that I think we also have online. And again, if you'd like more help, if you want to schedule, by the way, one of the things I'm going to ask for, if you want that 40 plus page, um, is that we schedule a consultation, you know, 10-minute consultation. See if we're on the same page, see if I can help you in any other way. And that's how you get that 40 plus page booklet that you can customize. And that's it. You know, I don't, you know, you don't have to commit to me, but just let's have that conversation. Just like you want to have that conversation with your clients, I want to have that conversation with you. If you need more help, we always have more classes coming up. I hope that you found this valuable. So glad you came. Thank you for showing up. If you know an office or a team that would benefit from seeing this or could use help in other areas, please do not hesitate. Reach out to me. Greatly appreciate it. We hope you have a great day, and thank you so much for coming.